doesn't take BS from anybody. And he's always looking out for you. He's Isiah. And this is The Factor Uncensored.
Well, guys, it's a 4th of July weekend, and it's time for the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We're here live in Bel Air at the Union Kitchen. The crew's on deck. You see Director Bill behind the scenes in our satellite truck, and we're going to take you inside in just a moment for a great show that we have planned for you this evening. So make sure you stick with us for the entire hour. Now, here's a look at the headlines on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Tonight on the Isiah Factor Uncensored, this perv is getting exactly what his ass deserves. Life in prison for giving a small child a sexually transmitted disease. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride caught on tape. This 12-year-old with a 5-year-old riding shotgun led cops on a chase with speeds of up to 126 miles per hour through the back and front roads of Montgomery County. Jesse Williams set the internet on fire with his pro-black words on the BET Awards, but some have set the Grey's Anatomy actor on fire, saying, hey, hold up, you're only half black. And we call them the Kush Queens and Fiends because they like the Kush, and it's an epidemic taking over Houston. We'll talk about the serious issue on The Factor tonight. And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Now it's time to check news with Angela Chin. How's your 4th of July weekend going so far?
It's going. It's just getting started. I think after this show,
any big plans or anything? You don't want to have a conversation with me?
Absolutely.
My God.
Whenever I can get FaceTime with Isiah is the day my day is made.
So what do you have going on?
I think barbecue. Yeah,
I meant news, Angela.
Oh,
we're back to business now.
Oh, okay, now
you
we're
missed
back.
your opportunity.
Okay, well, we've got some good ones for you.
Okay.
I hope you have a beer in your hand because this first one, wild. Police just released dash cam video of a 12-year-old leading police on a high-speed chase.
That is crazy.
Take a look at this video. Now, starting with Grandma noticing her car, her 12-year-old and 5-year-old daughter gone, right? At first she thought they were kidnapped, but they were not. That 12-year-old was driving that car west on Highway 105, 16-mile chase, speeds reaching 120 miles per hour. Now, at times they were going the wrong way, weaving through traffic. Surprisingly, no injuries from this, only minor accidents. Take a look at this. They are just going through that traffic, in and out, weaving through. Now, that 12-year-old, when they finally stopped him, because OnStar disabled that car, that 12-year-old,
goodness.
Look at that. 12-year-old was charged with evading arrest and auto theft. She was taken into detention. A judge on Tuesday is going to decide whether to let her go home or to keep her detained.
Do we know how she got the car?
We don't know yet. Now, the county has not told us anything.
It wasn't her car, right?
I think it was my car. Sounds like Isiah's childhood, though, right? I'm sure you did something of that stuff when you were little. All right, this next one. Hope you still have that beer in your hand because this one is a good contender for Sicko of the Year. All right, I know you worked on this story as well.
Yes.
A man has been sentenced to life in prison. This is his mugshot over here. His name is Robert Parker Feltis, 40 years old now. He was found guilty of continual sexual abuse of his child. Now here's the thing, this was his own child under 14 years old. On top of that, because of this abuse, this child contracted an STD. Take a listen to what one of the investigators had to say about this.
There was no doubt in my mind that this offender had committed these acts against this child. It is a very difficult thing to investigate.
Oh, I have no doubt. Incredibly difficult.
And they worked on this case for 2 years, and they finally took him off the streets because he abused his child for at least a 2-year period before he was arrested in 2014. And great job to the investigators in Waller County for honing in on this guy and taking him off the streets.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine your own child? It's bad enough that it's a child, but it's your own child.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, well, let's kind of turn to some good news. It is good news, we'll say. I know a lot of you headed to the beach because of 4th of July weekend. If you've been watching the news, you've heard about the flesh-eating bacteria virus. Okay, good thing now. They're saying the beach is clear. Water is clear, beaches are clear. Those flesh-eating virus reports, they're gone now. The beaches are safe. All 52 beach sites tested, good to go. Bacterial indicator, it is now gone because, of course, the bacteria.
What kind of proof do we have of that?
What kind of what?
proof do we have of that?
Well, you got to trust what the investigators, right, say, the law enforcement and the local authorities.
Right.
But, this is common after floodwaters, right? You get heightened bacteria levels, and of course, after you get those floodwaters away, it becomes clear. So, this is what we're saying. Go to the beach, have fun. Officials have said it's safe. Are you going to be swimming?
Yeah, right. Do I even look like? Oh yeah, I learned how to swim
Good.
at the YMCA as a kid. See?
Yes. There you go. Yeah.
But I don't know if I still know how to swim.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I'm
I'll teach
losing
you.
napkins here. I'm sweating like a slave on the run.
Anyway, those are your top hot topics of the day.
All right.
Those are the big news stories.
Thanks a lot, Angela Chin. Now, one of the bigger issues that we're dealing with here in the city of Houston is the epidemic of kush. We're going to talk more about that, but first, let's take a look at what we're seeing around our community. It was a crazy scene in Houston last week and this week with kush queens and fiends running wild. It was so bad, Mayor Sylvester Turner declared it an epidemic in Houston.
We can't have people smoking kush and passing out just feed from our children while our children are playing.
People who consumed kush passed out in the park, but it still wasn't enough to get some of them to stop.
You ever smoke it?
Yeah, I did it before.
What's it do to you?
What you mean what it do?
Get you high?
Well, you try something, you find out yourself.
And just this week, this man was found wandering around. They claim he was high on kush. Kush is taking a toll on the city, and it's an issue the Harris County Attorney's Office has been tackling for the last few years. Tonight, we talk about what's being done. And joining us now is Rosemarie Donnelly, Assistant Harris County Attorney, and you have been working on this for a very long time. Now, the city of Houston just recently realized that kush has become an epidemic in our community, but at the Harris County Attorney's Office, you guys have been working on this 2, possibly 3 years, because I've been there covering it with you.
We've been working on it for quite some time. We have been working with the city attorneys and also with HPD and also with the Harris County Sheriff's Department on shutting down retailers that are selling kush in our community.
How dangerous is this drug, kush? We saw just last week a park filled with people who were taking it, and all of them passed out.
It's extremely dangerous for a number of reasons. First of all, people think it's legal and harmless, neither of which is true. It is not legal, it is not harmless, it's extremely dangerous. What it is, it's not marijuana, it's actually leafy vegetable matter that is sprayed with hallucinogens, causes people to hallucinate, causes very violent behaviors, suicidal and homicidal thoughts, heart attacks. It can even cause death.
Now, we recently had a rash of bath salts incidents. Now, is this similar to that in the kind of reaction that people will get from ingesting and taking it?
Yes, it's extremely dangerous. It's much more akin to bath salts than it is to marijuana. Yes.
Now, we have seen legislation to try and have this addressed here in the state, around the country, but there's an issue where they keep changing the ingredients. So how do we deal with that?
The legislature last year did change the law in a way that makes the tweaking of the chemical compounds less likely that they will be able to escape prosecution. But the problem is that a lot of these store clerks are being prosecuted, but the owners of the stores who are actually profiting from the sale of the kush are not being prosecuted. And so our goal is to hold them accountable, fine them, and also shut down the store if necessary.
One of the things that your office joked with me about was you were the persecutor of kush sellers here in Harris County. You won a judgment over $800,000. Now, who was that judgment against, and how will that make an impact here in our community?
It was a judgment against the store owner. The store owner was fined over $800,000 by a jury here in Harris County. The store has been shut down, and we would like to send the message to anyone who is in a retail, convenience store, gas station, smoke shop that is selling kush. We will come after you, we will have you fined, and we will shut down the store if necessary.
Now, you've been on the front lines of many of these kush cases. What kind of defense are these store owners putting on? I don't know what happened, just playing dumbasses? Or are they saying, I don't know legitimately the ingredients of this?
They are all saying We didn't know it was illegal.
Dumbasses.
We were. They're
Can
all
you say
saying
that for me?
we did not know what we were selling
Vince
was
Ryan
illegal.
won't mind.
And Vince Ryan is very passionate about the fact that these folks do know, in fact, that these are illegal substances. They're being marketed to our children. I know Vince has teenage children and young adult children of his own. He feels very passionately that we have got to target the sellers of this dangerous substance. It's marketed to children. The packaging is deliberately made to seem as though it's a harmless product, and it's not.
What's next for you guys at the Harris County Attorney Vince Ryan's office in dealing with this?
We are continuing to go after store owners. The undercover officers will go into the stores, they will make a buy, and then we then turn around and we sue the store owners. We're suing the landlords as well, because some of the landlords are complicit in this activity, so we are cracking down. And you're hitting them in the pocket. Rosemary Donnelly
Yes,
from the Harris County Attorney's Office, we want to thank you for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored and everything you're doing in the community. We'll be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored in just a moment. Those comments from Jesse Williams at the BET Awards had the internet on fire. We'll talk with those who can relate to his situation being a biracial individual. We'll be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored in just a moment. And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Now, just Sunday, we heard from Jesse Williams, an actor from Grey's Anatomy, talking about black issues on the BET Awards. Now, some people thought it was a positive speech. Others had issues with it. Take a look.
It was a speech heard around the world. Actor Jesse Williams on the BET Awards speaking about saving black lives. It caused a firestorm with applause and some criticism.
What we've been doing is looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day.
But then there were those haters who said because Williams is biracial, meaning half white, half black, he doesn't have a right to address the social ills of the black community.
We're done watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold.
Does being biracial exclude you from the black struggle? Hey now, I'm just asking the question you guys threw out there.
And joining me now live is Alexis Robbie, who's a local filmmaker and TV producer, also Michelle Green, and both of you guys happen to be biracial. Both of you, your mothers are white, your fathers are black. Now, when you hear individuals here in the community, particularly the African-American community, say because Jesse Williams is biracial, he doesn't have a right to say the things he said to advance the African-American community. Michelle, let's begin with you. When you hear those things as a biracial individual, what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's ridiculous that someone would say that he doesn't have the right to speak from a black perspective. If his upbringing and that's his cultural experience has been from the black perspective, where would he speak from?
Alexis?
Well, what is black enough in this day and age to be able to have the right to represent and speak for the African American community? There are a lot of people that have been mixed and biracial in the past, all the way from Booker T. Washington to even Malcolm X had a biracial mother. So who is black enough?
Were you surprised when there was some controversy, some criticism to Mr. Williams when he decided to make these comments?
Not at all, not in the least. No matter what you do today, whether it's right or wrong, you're going to have 1,000 people that are going to say something negative about you, but you're going to have 10,000 people that are going to applaud you and pat you on the back.
Absolutely.
Michelle?
And I think that he's speaking from a place of relevance. This issue is still relevant because these incidents are still occurring. So absolutely, he is supposed to speak out on it. And who cares who delivers the message? If he has to be a certain degree of black, does that discredit the message any?
Some said that he may have offended his mother, which I believe he and his mother probably already had that conversation. His mother already knows her son. But for those who say, if you take the position that I'm an African American, even though you're biracial, are you forgetting about your mother? And did he offend his mother, Michelle?
No, I can't see that being the case. You could see her there in the front row, and she was cheering him on silently. But when a person enters into an interracial relationship and they decide to have a biracial child, they take on those challenges. They see that pain and the struggle firsthand because their spouse or loved one is obviously in that. So I just can't see her not supporting her child when that's been his experience.
Alexis, when we talk about the struggle with parents and having a black father, white mother, and deciding who you're going to be publicly, how difficult is that?
How difficult is it? I don't really think it's that difficult at all, because your parents are going to support you if you're doing the right thing. Your parents are going to support you if you believe in what you're doing and if you're standing up for a good cause. And your parents are going to support that cause also.
So did you ever have that struggle where you had to have a conversation with your parents and say, this is who I choose to be, this is who I am?
When I was younger, I always identified with being black. I identified as black. And then one day my mother asked me, how do you identify? My white mother asked me, how do I identify? And I said black. And then she looked at me with these sad puppy dog eyes and said, are you not proud of your white family? Are you not proud of me? And I had to really think about that, and I had to really take that home. And from that day on, I identify as biracial to represent both my white side and my black side, because that is me as biracial American.
Okay, so with both of you guys, you would say thumbs up to Jesse Williams. He had every right to say what he did.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. When we come back, it's time to get out the box with Angela Box. Stay with us. No. Welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Angela Box is just running her mouth against. We're celebrating 1 year anniversary. Thank you to Charlotte Jackson, who gave me a card. Angela Box, you didn't even know it was 1 year.
I did not.
You say it doesn't count until you've been here 1 year.
Right, it only counts when I started on the show. So
busy.
sad. Well, happy 4th of July weekend.
Thank you. What do you have for us? I'm cutting it to your time.
Cut to the chase. Benghazi report came out this week, and I have 4 names for you. Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, Tyrone Woods, and Ambassador Chris Stevens. The report came out and the media started whitewashing immediately, saying, oh, there's nothing to see here, there's nothing new. But let me tell you what is new. This administration has gone out of its way time and time again to make sure they never say Muslim terror, Islamic terror, and this one was no different in 2012. The Obama administration was in the middle of its lead from behind, smart diplomacy strategy, and this is why the whole Benghazi mess blew up as it did. Appearances must be kept for this administration, because in 2012 we knew that in 56 days the leader of the free world was getting ready to be up for re-election, and they had to have a narrative, and the narrative was this: Obama's kept us safe. Hillary Clinton is a brilliant Secretary of State.
Aren't they?
No.
Didn't he?
But because the narrative was this, they lied from the beginning about this. They have covered everything up, and their emails prove it. The President, the Secretary of State, and the rest of the administration knew almost immediately that this was an ongoing terror attack. But instead of being honest, Obama decided to blame it on a video that no one had ever heard of before, the innocence of Muslims, right? Have you ever heard of that video?
Not until they brought it up.
Because neither had anyone else.
But it could have been on Netflix.
But no matter, Netflix. Because the administration repeatedly lied to the public and to the families of the victims and blamed the attack on the video. And they also spent $70,000 in taxpayer money on commercials blaming the video for the terror attack. The administration urged the continuation of this narrative so Hillary could have history on her side and they could talk about taking out Gaddafi and everything like that. And now it's all starting to make sense. Barack Obama was 56 days away from re-election. Hillary Clinton's Libya legacy was on the line. They denied requests over 600 times for extra security for these people. And the reason they did that was to protect a political legacy. The one word that sums everything up in this situation is disgusting. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are disgusting for lying about this. The media is disgusting for licking the boots of the Obama administration and carrying their water. And the Democrat Party is disgusting for spawning these people and for protecting them time and time again, no matter the evidence. In November, people, we have a very important decision to make.
And
it's July 4th weekend.
You just hit it. It's all about a presidential election. And if you allow Donald Trump to get into the office,
oh God, I hope.
Your ass is grass. You're doomed.
Doomed?
You're doomed.
The country hopefully will be saved.
That guy doesn't even know what he's doing, let alone allowing him to become president is a dangerous...
Donald Trump has actually called a spade, unlike Barack Obama. We had another terror attack today in Bangladesh. And this is going to continue because the goal of radical Islam is a caliphate and Sharia law, and it's time we get that through our head. 7th century barbarians have been at war with us since the 7th century, and it's time to pull our heads out of our asses and get with the program.
And your ass is grass if he's elected. Thank you, Angela Bobs, for coming on The Factor Uncensored. You doing okay? All right. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
Happy anniversary.
Same. Welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. It is a 4th of July weekend. I can promise you it will continue to be hot. Let's check the weather with Dr. Jim Siebert.
The weekend is here, and it is a holiday weekend, so I know a lot of you've got outdoor plans going on. So first of all, let's talk about the sunshine that I think that we are going to be seeing. Now, I realize this picture is a little bit small, but you can see over Texas, not a lot of cloud cover. Now, we are going to see clouds, but there's going to be high pressure that's going to dominate things, which means it's going to push any of the major storm systems away from us. Weather from the west, weather from the east, and that just means it's going to be more hot and more humid for us. Something we also got to check this time of year is the Gulf of Mexico and the tropics. And you know, right now, things are just about as quiet as they can be for this time of year. No real major flare-ups at all, so that's good news. So it's going to be hot, nothing to worry about in the tropics. So let's talk about the 4th of July. On the 4th of July, it is going to be hot. Now, I do think over the weekend highs will be in the 90s, but by Monday, 96, winds from the southeast and a lot of humidity, which means you may want to spend some time in the pool, in a lake, or any way you can to stay cool, at least until the fireworks later on in the day. Now, as we go into the rest of the holiday weekend and look into next week, I do think we're going to see kind of more of the same. No major changes coming in our forecast, which means it's going to be hot with highs in the middle 90s, maybe even the upper 90s for some areas as we go towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Have a great and a safe holiday weekend.
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Now it's time for Factor Gives. We have joining us Captain Adam Rodriguez from the Wharton Area Fire Department, Glen Flora Volunteer Fire Department, also Randy Hartley, who is a Factor Angel. Now, just a few weeks ago, we reported on Andrell Watson. He's a volunteer firefighter. He found out because of financial difficulties in the small community of Glen Flora, they did not have the type of insurance he needed to cover him while off from work and also for health care. But we've had the community come together. Captain Adam Rodriguez is here to tell us how you can help firefighter Watson get back on his feet. He was hospitalized. Also Randy Hartley, usual Factor Angel, and you came here. But before we get to that, first of all, tell us how firefighter Watson is doing in the hospital right now.
Well, actually, he was last Friday. He's been at home, so it's good to have him home and not in the hospital. And he's having a few more tests done. That's why Mr. Watson wasn't able to make it here tonight. But he is doing a lot better than he was. We hope that he has a speedy recovery, not too long at home, not too long out of work. So,
Captain Rodriguez, tell us how we got to this position. You guys were fighting a fire, helping out other agencies in Wharton. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, sir.
When he was injured.
Yes, sir. We were mutual aided out to a structure fire in Wharton. It was a large apartment fire. And the guys went out there maybe about 7:30. They were there probably until about 11. And well, Mr. Watson was, and that's when he had smoke inhalation and a little bit of carbon monoxide poisoning, and he had to be hospitalized to here in Oak Bend and Rosenberg.
Okay, and that's where Randy Hartley, our Factor Angel, steps in for Factor Gives. So what did you decide to do?
You know what? Here's what we decided to do. I'm going to give this to you, Adam, in care of Ariel Watson, so that he can pay for his expenses, his hospital expenses, his family expenses, and whatever he needs to do to be able to do that.
Yes, sir.
And the reason why I want to do this is because I feel very strongly about the heroes in this country, and I think our firefighters I think our military personnel and our soldiers, I think that our policemen, and I also think that our EMS workers are really the real heroes in this world. They risk their lives on the line, and in order to save other people, and really they don't really have to do it, but they do it. And to me, that is the ultimate hero.
And we want to thank you, Randy, for coming through. You've helped one of our individuals here on Factor Gives in the past, and we want to continue to thank you for stepping up when need. Now, Captain Rodriguez, there's some fundraisers going on, and also if people want to help out, give that information to the viewers out there.
Yes, sir. On July 23rd, coming up, we're going to have a large fundraiser in Wharton, Texas. It's going to be at the Casey Hall. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to be selling barbecue chicken plates. We're also going to have some other fire departments out there. We're going to have some cool ladder trucks. We're going to try to get PHI out there, which is a life light. And that way the kids can come out, see some cool trucks, see a cool helicopter. Also, too, tomorrow, the community of Wharton, they're having a small Freedom Festival. And that's going to start at 2 o'clock, and I think it goes till 11 p.m. But we're also going to have a booth out there for Adriel to help raise money for him.
Now, for people who want to reach you, give them a number in case they didn't get a chance to jot all of that down.
Yes, sir. Telephone number is going to be 979-533-1829, or they can email at gfbfd.14@outlook.com.
People ain't gonna ever remember that. Good luck with it.
Yes,
but
sir.
thank you guys for coming on, and thank you, Randy Hartley, for helping out once again on Factor Gives. We'll be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored in just a moment. Stay with us.
Thank you.
And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Now it's time to talk politics with Kathleen McKinley, also Carmen Rowe. We want to thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. And this week, guess what? I remembered your name. Now we have some hot topics going on in politics. Let's start off with abortion and the ruling by the Supreme Court. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that came from Texas, you know. And I just wonder why it's a burden for a woman to go to an abortion clinic that has minimal standards of a surgery center, because it is surgery after all. So I think that since abortion dropped 15% in Texas since that law was passed, that since we want abortion to be safe, legal, and rare, that it was working. So I was very much disagree with the Supreme Court.
Carmen, your position on this?
You know what I think is shocking is, one, there was absolutely no evidence that there was ever a safety concern, which is what one of the justices pointed out.
Dr. Gosnell.
And the second thing is that, you know, I think it's amazing that now people who were supporting this law are coming out saying, you know, we supported it to end or limit abortions, you know, and making them available to women in Texas and specifically minorities. And so,
now, when the court basically said, we see through this, Texas.
Right.
We know exactly what you're doing. You're trying to make it difficult for women to get abortion. You don't see that.
No, you know what? I don't disagree that that is an end game in the aspect of people who are against abortion, but I really do not see a problem with minimal standards for abortion clinics. Or you'll have another Dr. Gosnell. That's just, I think that is as well.
Now, another hot topic, transgender in the military. We saw some major issues, some major developments there. Your thoughts on that, Carmen Rowe?
I think it's great that the military is now going to recognize that we allow anyone to die for this country, and to really honor those individuals who are getting out there and serving their country, especially as we celebrate the 4th of July this weekend. I think it's great.
Independence, Kathleen?
Well, did we have a problem with this before? Does the Department of Defense have nothing else to do? Is there terrorism, anything to deal with? This was not a problem. And let's stop pretending that this was not diagnosed as gender dysphoria, which was a mental disorder until 2012, when they decided to stop it because of the stigma. I don't think we should stop science because of stigmas. I don't think this is where we need to play social engineering game in the military.
I think what was most shocking for people also, a part of that plan was health insurance and providing the type of coverage. Were you shocked at that?
Not
Even
really,
more.
because of Chelsea Manning. You know, we're already playing for hormone replacement for him in prison, or her, whatever. And so it doesn't shock me.
Mail for that, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna come after
Whatever.
you. LGBT gonna get you.
No, you know what? Love you. I love all people, but this is not where we need to be playing the games.
Now we're looking at pairing up presidential candidates with their running mates. Right now, Donald Trump is looking at Chris Christie. What do you think about that, Carmen?
You know, I don't think that's the best move. I know Newt Gingrich is in the boat as well. I mean, he needs somebody that's going to be different than he is. Chris Christie, Newt Gingrich, bomb throwers just like Trump, hot-headed, morally challenged, as we were talking about earlier. I don't think that's the way to go.
Did you say he was morally challenged as well?
Newt Gingrich?
Newt Gingrich.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
What do you think about it?
I did think, since we've obviously given up on the moral challenge part with Trump, so, I mean, at least Newt is brilliant. He is brilliant,
And real quick, Elizabeth Warren and Hillary Clinton, your thoughts?
Well, I think that she is considered because she brings the Bernie Sanders voters that would be so angry that Bernie did not get the votes.
Carmen?
Anti-establishment is what she's supposed to be. I mean, that's what she is, and I don't know if that's going to carry the day for Hillary.
Carmen Rowe, Kathleen McKinley, thank you guys for coming on the Isiah Factor Uncensored. We'll be back with more after this. Stay with us. And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored. Now it's time to check in with my mentor, the great one, Mark Berman.
And I'm uncensored, right? Astros looking for their fourth consecutive win tonight against the White Sox at Minute Maid Park, and it'll look like a line shot in the box score, but Carlos Correa sneaks one by shortstop Tim Anderson in the fourth, a two-out infield single scoring George Springer. Astros up 1-0. In the fifth, rookie A.J. Reed with a shot down the right field line for his first major league hit after going 0 for 16. Carlos Gomez has hit a two-run homer. Astros up 3-0, play bottom of 8. If Jose Altuve is not named American League Player of the Month for June, there ought to be an investigation. In June, Altuve hit .420 with 6 doubles, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, and 6 steals, and of course played great defense. We asked General Manager Jeff Luhnow for some fresh thoughts on just how good Altuve is.
Best player on the planet. I mean, he was always in the running for it. Maybe now he's showing us that he is it. He's the heart and soul of this team, and without him, we wouldn't be able to accomplish anything.
The Dwight Howard era has officially ended now that he's agreed to a reported 3-year contract worth more than $70 million with Atlanta. However, long before Howard made his decision, the Rockets had already met with the guy who could replace Dwight in free agent center Al Horford, the 4-time NBA All-Star from the Hawks. And the Rockets did all they could to make a big-time impression on Horford, sending an impressive contingent to Atlanta to meet with him, led by owner Leslie Alexander, and included James Harden, Hall of Famers Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler, along with General Manager Daryl Morey, CEO Tad Brown, and Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations Gerson Rosas. The same group met late last night with another Hawks free agent and guard forward Kent Bazemore. Last season with Atlanta, Bazemore averaged a career-best 11 points and nearly 6 rebounds a game. Fox 26 Sports has also confirmed the Rockets will meet tomorrow with free agent forward Ryan Anderson, who averaged 17 points a game last season for the Pelicans, second best of his career. Cassidy Cook, former Woodlands High School and Stanford star, back in Houston, wasting no time in getting back to work after qualifying for the Olympics in the 3-meter springboard. Cook just doesn't work in the pool, just plenty outside the water as well, especially training with weights. Cassidy, who's overcome 3 surgeries, qualified for the 2012 games, but couldn't compete because of injuries.
It feels amazing to be where I am. It took a lot of perseverance and a lot of, toughness to get out of those dark peaks. But after like a couple years of hard work and not giving up, it definitely took me to the right place, and I'm very happy with where I am.
Former Cy Woods and Texas A&M star Camille Adams headed back to the Olympics after winning the 200-meter butterfly at the Olympic trials. Adams, who finished 5th at the 2012 games, had to overcome the adversity of being disqualified in the preliminaries, only to have it overturned. And she's headed to Rio.
It was quite the roller coaster this time around. Lots of surprises that I wasn't quite expecting, but that's what this meet is all about, and just kind of managing those emotions and that sort of thing. But it absolutely means the world to me to represent the red, white, and blue again and call myself a 2-time Olympian. It's pretty cool.
Our condolences tonight to the family of former Texans Vice Chairman and limited partner Philip Bugere, who passed away last night. Just a pleasure to work with. Philip didn't get much publicity, but owner Bob McNair with a wonderful tribute to him in his statement, pointing out that, in quoting now, Philip worked tirelessly with me to bring an NFL franchise back to Houston. Bugere was vice chair of the team from its inception to 2012. Now back to Isiah Carey and more of his famous factor.
All right, thanks a lot, Mark. And we will be back with more Isiah Factor Uncensored with fun and games. Carmen and Mish are on deck. Stay with us. And welcome back to the Isiah Factor Uncensored, here live at the Union Kitchen. Time for fun and games with Carmen Contreras and Mish Guillory. You guys always bring the spirit with you.
Yes.
You look like firecrackers.
Are we ready for fun,
You look
baby?
like
Come on, we're ready
4th of
for it.
July.
We gotta look good because we look good.
You brought all of this.
All of these, baby. We got the hair.
You know you got to show us something for these beads, right?
Those are my personal Mardi Gras beads. Come on now. We're ready for you.
Okay, Carmen, what do you have up?
Happy 4th of July to everyone. A huge congrats to my Latinas from Texas. Eva Longoria and the late Selena Quintanilla will receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame next year, 2017. Now, they will be side by side. Eva Longoria said that Selena is the reason why she dreams. Also, Selena Quintanilla's makeup will launch in October at the MAC store.
With
so
the
huge
MAC
congrats.
line. Yes, we love MAC. So guess what else we got today?
What else?
Caitlyn Jenner has landed on the cover of another magazine, Sports Illustrated. But Bruce was on it 40 years ago. So Caitlyn is on the same magazine cover, but she's wearing Bruce's gold medal from the
I almost forgot who you were talking about.
Caitlyn Jenner, yes, Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner. Caitlyn, Bruce, Caitlyn, and she's wearing Bruce's gold medal from the 1976 Olympics.
It's her gold medal, right?
It's her gold medal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said
Yes,
Bruce's.
It's her.
It's Bruce's gold.
She's wearing Bruce's gold
Wait.
medal.
Isn't Caitlyn Jenner Bruce Jenner now?
Yes. No.
Wait.
Bruce is Caitlyn.
So it's her gold medal.
Yes.
No, it's
Who's on first?
Bruce is going to hurt Caitlyn for taking the medal. How about that?
And there goes the hat. But here's the thing. We want to know if she's going to end up on the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated next. That's not funny because she actually was in lingerie on Vanity Fair's cover. Come on now.
Team Caitlyn Jenner, baby.
Thank you. Go, Caitlyn. You keep breaking barriers.
That's right, baby.
Okay.
JJ Watt, Hollywood, baby, Bad Moms. He's going to be in this movie that's in theaters this weekend. Lots of things happening 4th of July. So you can support JJ Watt. Is it me or am I constantly always talking about JJ Watt?
Love you some JJ. Just
All
come
the
take
time.
this
You pay me for
and
promoting
date.
you. Hello.
Come get her.
Can I get some cheddar?
Just get her.
Anyways,
Come take
Bad
her out.
Moms. He's going to be in the movie. It's in theaters this weekend, so make sure you support it.
Absolutely. So last thing, the Beehive. Those are Beyonce's fans. They call themselves the Beehive, and they have stung Mama Knowles. Tina Knowles got stung, so she's at the BET Awards, and she accepted the Video of the Year award for Beyonce. And she said, "I'm taking the award for my daughter because she's on a plane headed back to London for her Formation World Tour." Problem: the fans went and checked out the tour schedule and said, "Wait a minute. You're not going to London until Tuesday."
Those fans are being petty.
Being real petty. And Tina
If Mama
Knowles,
said it is true.
she said she's hurt
If Mama
and
said
disappointed.
it is true.
Well, she said she was hurt and
to Google
Right.
and find
to
out
see
if
if Mama Knowles was
Petty
lying.
ass people.
Said she was lying. Said so. That's okay. But you know what? Mama Knowles said they being petty and they need to move on.
Right. Yes, right.
Whoever told her the bad information needs to get information. But right now, we're in formation to tell you one thing.
How you doing? Oh, not a crowd. Way too much. Just call me your grace.
Happy anniversary! 1 year! 1 year!
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. It's been great. It's been great. Glad to have you guys here. Well, we want to thank all of you out there for watching the Isiah Factor Uncensored. It has been a great first year. Hopefully there will be many more. Want to thank all the people behind the scenes. Joe, can you get a shot of Tori? Tori, can you get a shot of Joe? Can you get a shot of Phil? And Sammy over there?
Yes.
Can you guys switch up those shots? That's Tori. all the people behind the scenes, and we want to thank the Union Kitchen here in Bel Air, also where we first started out at the Raging Cajun and LA Bar, and want to thank you guys and many of you viewers. Oh, look at Natasha Geigel over there, one of our reporters here. But we want to thank you guys. How much time do we have, Randy? 20 seconds. Anybody has anything prolific to say? Oh, real quick, thank Carolina Sanchez, our producer over here, Angela Chin right there, our news anchor. Want to thank
this newscast brought to you by Carpet Giant.
That's it.